So ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for the first section of BUIDL Vietnam with the topic, how to build on NIR's blockchain operating system. Today we are having an artificial intelligence researcher. He is very passionate about machine learning with understanding about natural language, and he's telling himself on his way to make the world better with software and data. Please join me to welcome to the stage Ilya Polostukin, co-founder from NIR Protocol.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming so early to the first opening. Great to be here. Thank BUIDL Vietnam for inviting me. My first time in Vietnam. It's a little bit too hot, but otherwise really good. So I'm Ilya, I'm co-founder of NIR Protocol. I think it was mentioned before, I was a deep learning researcher. But today we're going to talk about how do we use blockchain operating system, what is it, and a few of the kind of local notes about what we're doing in Vietnam. So maybe for those who are not familiar with NIR, NIR started as layer 1. We've had like a really amazing year for kind of looking 1 year back. We had growth on accounts, usage, as well as projects, funding coming in. But kind of generally speaking, we started with this idea that we want a simple and secure and scalable infrastructure. We ourselves actually originally were doing an AI company. We needed to use blockchain for our own use case, and we did not find anything that would satisfy kind of our requirements. And so in 2018, we focused on NIR. We really kind of tried to develop what actually can scale with the demand of the users and actually can scale to what we always aiming for, 1 billion users. We launched it in 2020, and kind of since then been developing the ecosystem and kind of really trying to help developers build. So for that, we've done a lot of work on kind of what we call developer platform, right? All the tooling and infrastructure that you need around the blockchain to really kind of not be bogged down by details, but be able to build. And what we've kind of encountered as we talked with developers around the world is really this idea that there's a lot of people with a lot of kind of good ideas, smart projects, but they still kind of were falling short on how to onboard users and how to really kind of engage them in the experience. And so we've expanded our vision to what we call blockchain operating system to really kind of unite all of the things that blockchain kind of ecosystem and Web3 ecosystem is trying to do in one concept. So what is blockchain operating system? Well, it's a common layer of kind of to browse and discover experiences in Web3 in open web, and importantly, it's compatible with any blockchain. It's really about kind of how do we coalesce all of the things that we're doing in Web3 into one concept that users and developers can interact with, and it benefits kind of all of the applications built on top of it. So what problems are we trying to solve? So in Web2, we have data ownership challenges, we have lack of privacy, kind of centralized parties that have kind of control over users' data. We have censorship in various forms and kind of fragility around these centralized parties. And also like Web2 actually has massive user retention problems. And like people continue moving from one app to another as kind of something new, hip, and hot comes in. Now in Web3, we actually created our own new problems, right? We have lots of different layer 1s. Each one has its own fragmented user base. You're launching your app, you're only targeting a fraction of Web3 user base instead of really addressing the whole market. As a user, let's say you install the wallet, you have no idea what you can use. Like discovering the actual applications that are available on the blockchain is extremely hard. Figuring out which of these websites is actually legit and not trying to steal all your funds is even harder. And kind of with that, we kind of just continue increasing complexity. And if you are a developer and you actually have users, one of the challenges that you faced on is you have no idea who they are and you have no idea how to bring them back, right? Imagine somebody came into your app, used it, left, and you're like, hey, we have an update. Like you have no way to re-engage them in a kind of consistent manner. Now, onboarding is a big challenge for Web3 broadly. Web 2 also has challenges around that. Like usually in any startup, you have like a whole team just focused on onboarding in Web 2. Obviously, distribution, compliance, all of these are challenges that like common, although have different flavors. Building for a cross-platform for mobile, web, kind of other surfaces is always complicated. So all of these problems we're trying to solve by kind of coalescing around this one concept of blockchain operating system. So how does this work? Well, it's actually not one thing, right? It's a lot of different tools and instruments and really like packaged together into one vision. So at the bottom, we have the blockchains, right? The things kind of this space started with. We have, Ethereum with layer 1, layer 2s. We have Near with kind of some of the things on top of it. And the important part is the middleware. It's where kind of what we were doing with developer platform is really building all of this middleware that kind of abstracts, aggregates, and kind of processes all of the blockchain information in such a way that is accessible and easy to build on by developers. So why we call it this operating system? Because this is actually conceptually very similar to what regular operating systems doing, where they have all this hardware, right? You have the your CPU, your RAM, you have networking device, and you have all those drivers built on top of it, which you as a developer don't need to think which exact device is used in your phone or laptop. You can just program that you want to send TCP/IP packet, or you want to connect to this HTTP URL, and all of that is done by kind of underlying operating system. So very similar idea here. We kind of delivering this middleware that really kind of abstracts it out and provides a lot of functionality that we missing, and I'll talk about that. Now we added a new layer, we call it Discovery, and Discovery is this layer of composable decentralized front ends. This is conceptually repeating what smart contracts did to web services, right? They made them autonomous, they made them kind of reliable and composable, and doing that to front ends, right? Taking front-end components, React components, and making them live on a blockchain, making them easily composable, kind of recreated for the user, rendered for the user without any middlemen, and kind of allowing to have, all of this authenticity of the front ends themselves as well. And finally, this all gets packaged into what we call gateways. This is entry points. This is how you actually access this and able to interact with apps. And this can be a website, this can be an app, it can be existing application, it can be a wallet, and you can connect kind of with different ways. And I'll show a few examples. So under the hood, this is all powered by Near Protocol. Near Protocol, we focused from the start on making it extremely flexible with WebAssembly runtime, with kind of extremely flexible account model. We focused on performance with 1 second kind of block time. And I mentioned on scalability to actually continue growing the capacity of the network with usage. And kind of the conceptual idea here is that right now decentralization usually means that you're losing distribution. You're losing the users, you're having trouble acquiring them. And we really want to turn around this trade-off and leverage decentralization to actually help acquire more users, help have more entry points where people coming in and able to use all of the applications on the platform. So for those who are familiar with WeChat, you can conceptually think of the open WeChat platform where you have all those media apps, you have all the social, you have all the interactions happening, and they're all kind of interconnected in one place. So it is a three-sided marketplace, which means it's, it takes a little bit of time to bootstrap. And so there's a kind of users who are using and all of these applications. They have the assets, they have the data, and they're accessing it through different gateways. You have developers building these applications, right? This can be smart contracts or front ends. It's really easy to kind of compose and create new experiences, but we need to have time to build them up. And we have gateways, right? This is where you install this operating system. So similarly to OEM installation of Android on your phone, to actually have this distribution now in different places where users already exist. This really kind of works well with existing platforms and existing applications. So for developers, it's a faster developer environment. It's faster than Web 2. You don't need to do any hosting. You don't need to do any scaffolding. You get kind of distribution right away. People can start, posting about your application. They can embed your application inside theirs. You can search for it, and you kind of build once and really reuse a lot of the existing code. For enterprises, it's an idea that instead of building up a huge team and rebuilding everything and trying to own kind of what is really hard to own in Web3, you can actually just integrate this blockchain operating system inside your application, surface it directly on your website or app, and get access to all of these rich experiences that are being built, while also maintaining kind of connectivity with all of the Web3 community. And so it's very easy to integrate. It's very easy to kind of bring these experiences and bootstrap them and continue maintaining them. And so it lowers the developer costs for them, as well as allows them to still own some of the kind of user journey there. Finally, for users, is this idea of community commerce. It's really bringing together the kind of financialization, the social aspects, the kind of collaborations, the DAOs, all of this comes together, kind of creates one environment where you can go from posting about things to interacting with NFTs to have a private group where you're discussing which games to play and kind of go from there to buy a specific item and interact in the game. So the cool thing about this, a lot of what I've talked about is already live, and so we have it showcased on near.org, and I'll show how it looks. But also already there's, I don't know, 6 or 7 different gateways being kind of powered by a blockchain operating system, and we see more and more folks integrating it. So it starts with onboarding, right? I mentioned onboarding is one of the biggest challenges, and so we have focused on solving that by using cryptography that's available directly on your phone and your laptop to create a private key that then can be used to create accounts. So as a user, you don't see passphrases, you don't see seed phrases, you don't see 0x stuff. You just enter an email, it generates you an account ID, human readable account, and you create an account. There's MPC used for email recovery in case you do lose your phone. And you can start using applications because there's meta transaction relay on the bottom that actually sends transactions on your behalf, and you don't need to have NEAR or any other tokens to pay fees. So that's kind of creates this 0 to 1 journey for the user. It's about 5 seconds. It's faster than Web 2 and allows to really kind of onboard users quickly. When you land there on near.org right now, kind of the default view you get is this social community developer interaction. Right, so you interact with developers who are there. You have applications, kind of app store style, and you have news and other things around your ecosystem. Now, as I said, all of this can be customized for your own gateway. You can, land directly into a game. You can land just in App Store. Some people did their own developer environment, and that's all. So there's a lot of opportunity there. You can go to apps and discover what applications are already there. There's everything from DeFi NFT to developer tooling to even ChatGPT stuff that you can interact with. Somebody's already doing ChatGPT to mint NFTs on marketplace and sells them while you're chatting with this thing, and it generated the image itself. All of that is already there. People are experimenting, and it's kind of really moving quickly. For anything you look at, including the homepage, you can actually go to Develop tab and open the source code. So source code of every single thing you see is actually stored on blockchain, and you can fork it, you can modify it, you can create your own version, you can actually host the whole website yourself and kind of as an alternative gateway and customize how it looks. And that's really powerful because it allows really quickly to build new use cases and applications. And I mentioned the connectivity, right? So a lot of it is powered by social, and a lot of the discovery and experiences are powered by really connecting with other people, seeing what they're building, seeing what they're using, and being able to interact with that. And I mentioned any other blockchain, right? So all the EVMs are already supported. So this is, for example, ZK Sync, an example using Sync Swap. There's a bunch of other layer 2s as well as mainnet applications already been built. People actually at eSol, at eSprog have been building applications on Boss for kind of Ethereum and layer 2s. And we see kind of this expanding really quickly. So I'll walk you through very quickly how a fictional hacker Idris can build their Web3 project in this environment, right? So Idris is interested in building kind of a new product to help the gym members kind of create this loyalty and participation. And he's really interested in how to go from idea to business as quickly as possible, right? So first step is test a hypothesis of the core value. Is this idea even make sense? And so the top kind of thing that he cares about is how to learn as quickly as possible. So he's interested in finding what are the old things that are already available that he can put together to really ship something and demo it to his potential users. So he goes like to the kind of creates his social profile, finds out about like types in NFT, finds out about Minbase, which is one of the NFT marketplaces on Near, and sees that they built a bunch of applications already to mint NFTs and kind of interact with different things. So he forks that, kind of creates his own version, which mints NFT when you are, for example, checking in after your workout. So kind of really gets like a very basic version, did not write any smart contract code, really leveraged already existing backends and kind of customize some of the front-end code for that. So it's a really fast way to prototype, right? Like most of the time when you want to build a product, not some infrastructure, you don't actually need to build smart contract first. You can actually get a kind of quick version of what it's going to look like, prototype it, use full stack JavaScript. We also have JavaScript smart contracts, and you can kind of deploy this and start getting first feedback from the users. So because you have kind of now this prototype, you want to get some initial users. You want customers or positive feedback from initial like super fans. And so as you publish this, it's already available for everyone on every single gateway, on every single platform. They can find this app. And you already have embedded discussions and conversations. You have kind of all of the social things. You can start sharing the link to the app itself, or you can actually have use KeyPalm that allows you to create, for example, NFT kind of drop through a link and allow to send it through kind of marketing email or through social channels for people to capture. So you can actually start building these different acquisition channels really quickly, and people will just need to land and kind of go through the fast auth path that I showed you to really sign up and create an account. And it's kind of allowing them to go through and not even know that they're using Web3 application. They don't need to think about tokens. They don't need to think about kind of even that the badge they got is an NFT. They're just actually going through this flow and kind of getting this reward for their workout. There's search and notifications, and so you can actually have users to find this, like, oh, I'm interested in fitness, what's available, as well as through the social feed. You can see what people are like, hey, I've just gotten this badge, and you can see it kind of what other people have been getting and find applications from that way. So you have kind of built-in feedback loop directly on the application side as well. Which, by the way, in Web 2 right now, we have reviews in App Store, but in Web 3, there's no way to, like, unless you go to Discord and kind of complain in, hopefully, general channel, that something doesn't work. Here, you have this embedded inside the application itself. You're talking with the kind of maintainer of the front end. You have kind of this really easy onboarding and distribution channels, and you have all of this embedded social kind of discovery channels as well to get users to interact. Now, you want to retain users, right? So that's probably the biggest challenge with Web3 now, that even when we do user acquisition, and like airdrops probably is one of the best user acquisition channels, but then the retention is like less than 1%. And so here you have kind of few different ways to retain, but kind of specifically, you want to create more social interactions. Like at the end, we're social creatures, and it's all about like finding other people to do things with. For example, for this fitness, you can kind of expand it, add some functionality to have community groups or groups of people working out together. But more importantly, we have notifications. And so you can create notifications for the users to really re-engage them when you have something to kind of showcase to them. And users are still in control. They still decide which notifications, which apps can kind of communicate to them. But this allows to now have this bidirectional channel, which didn't exist in Web3 at all. You can also then deploy your own gateway. So I mentioned, right, like right now this is near.org, but you can actually have this spun up and customize how it looks, as well as which kind of home screen is loaded, right? And so in this case, like you say, hey, actually my fitness app now gonna have its own website, and it's still kind of, it literally runs the same code that is running on near.org, and just the config says like the homepage is my fitness component. And so this way you can like kind of spin it up and still have all the users from near the door being able to access it, and now can start building up your brand stronger as well through here. So fosters a community kind of through the conversations, through the social interactions, through the groups. You can have more ways to re-engage users. We also have like other, for example, applications to partner with, and you can customize kind of just the overall experience when you're going beyond already initial prototype. Finally, grow into adjacent markets, right? So you already established it. You have acquisition channels. You have retention. Now it's about kind of expansion. And so the ways to expand this, to connect with multi-chain, expand to other experiences, as well as go global and internationalize for other markets. So the idea here is we actually cross-linking accounts across different chains and allowing to use different assets from different chains inside the application. So ideally, you can go and use your, for example, Polygon NFT inside a, for example, Near Protocol's smart contract leaderboard to boost it, for example, when you use it. So you can log in with any wallet, and then kind of there's a remapping and meta transaction layer behind the scene that actually allows this. And I'll mention how that works. You can work with other existing kind of applications, for example, Sweatcoin, which has over 120 million installs that's running on Near, and actually like have a cross-promotion strategy with them because it's in the same fitness category, and you can actually have their users to learn about your product and have some, for example, discount or some initial badges to interact with. Finally, because all of this are available, actually you can have community contribute to internationalization by forking your components and creating like translations, and you can integrate it back. And it's very easy. You can actually have the community participating in this. So scale your project, work with any chain, and kind of experiences on those, tie them together into one experience where users don't actually even care which chain, what parts of the experience coming from. Create and kind of cross-promote with others and reuse as you kind of creating either more applications or internationalize for different markets. So this is what we call community commerce, right? This is kind of like I showcased how to build up this new application, right, that really links together kind of something that is physical in real world, something that has digital value, right, with loyalty and kind of NFT attendance and potentially like competitions and other things. You have the social component where you interact with other people as well as kind of creating groups. And so you have all of those things really coming together from hypothesis to market expansion on one platform, kind of deployed and developed really quickly and really focusing on the end user value versus focusing on infrastructure and like which nodes you need to deploy and which RPCs you need to use. So that's kind of what we're really trying to achieve with blockchain operating system. So and as you're building your startup, actually Near Horizon is one of the apps on blockchain operating system to really help you build your startup, right? Because you're probably not going to be able to do everything yourself. You want contributors, you want vendors, you want backers and VCs. And so Horizon is a marketplace of VCs, founders, and contributors and vendors that come together in one place. And so as you create a project, you can say like, hey, I need help with setting up a legal structure. I need help with marketing in Vietnam. And other people can come in and actually contribute to that. And you can pay them either in stablecoin or in crypto or in your currency. And so create this kind of active marketplace of kind of creating projects together. Not always in full employment way, but actually in this kind of more fluid contribution way, which we are really trying to build here in Web3. So what's next? There's a lot of cool stuff already on BOSS, but so notifications I mentioned is one of the things that we are going to be launching in coming weeks. So this is everything for push notifications on a phone and desktop. This is actually because operating systems only recently allowed the web push notifications. And also building up this user control, making sure that user can control the notifications very actively is extremely important to us. The other thing is, as a developer, right now, you kind of need to redesign, and every time you build an application, you kind of making app design, you're making app design principles. And so we actually want to launch a design system with already pre-implemented components for all the core workflows and usage flows, because this actually allows to have familiar flows for the user, so they know that this green button actually issues a transaction. This way of showing account name means kind of these things, and shortening of account names work that way. Like all of the small things that actually, when Bootstrap and material design came out, made a huge difference, both on speed of development as well as on the user side, being able to recognize how things work. Finally, I mentioned the multi-chain thing. And so we're working on this right now, which we call remote accounts. And this is the idea of linking accounts between different chains and really being able to transact on one chain and route the kind of actions on the other chain, both for the user as well as for application. And this is kind of an extremely important part of this abstraction layer for the multi-chain to really allow kind of not care for the user exactly where they started and where the app is, and really just use the application. There's a lot of other stuff coming, SDK for fast auth, improved search, we're improving the web engine, the rendering itself, and so keep track of our on near.org, near social, or on our Twitter. So as I mentioned, I worked on AI before. I just wanted to mention a few things. One of them is, as we're building out this blockchain operating system, one of the core values is that everything is cryptographically signed and cryptographically authenticated. You have this on-chain reputation being built through the socials, through the development. So you have all of this provenance of the content, of the code, of kind of all of the pieces that were produced. And this allows to actually have a very robust system that prevents a lot of the potential downfalls of kind of this large language models creating fake content, fake websites, code, etc. We also extremely important to have a robust governance, community governance around data and around like what models are we using. And we are launching what we call Near Tasks, which is a data crowdsourcing platform that uses BOSS as kind of the platform to both kind of generate more data for some of the use cases in machine learning, but also onboard more users into crypto and find first ways they can earn crypto in the ecosystem. So in the last few minutes, I just want to give a quick update about what we're doing in Vietnam. So we have established a Near Vietnam hub, and generally Near is structured in a very decentralized way. We have lots of different kind of participants contributing to this. What I've showed has been built by like 5 or 6 different companies and efforts, as well as we have kind of on-the-ground hubs around the world. I just was in Korea, where we have Near Korea. We have Near Vietnam here as well. And so it's established really to kind of coalesce the local community, help them build, and kind of really bring everyone together in Vietnam. And so their mission is everything from education to helping founders to kind of organizing events and helping developers and kind of educating university. And really kind of accelerating adoption of Near in this ecosystem. They have been building as well in the blockchain operating system. So a lot of the kind of events they're organizing actually have the component in near.org or in any other gateway. So you can look them up on near.org, Near Vietnam Hub. Finally, they've already been operating for a while, and they have onboarded a lot of users, as well as there's a pretty big community here and kind of a lot of developers who get gathered for the bootcamp and working with local universities here to partner up and really kind of onboard their students and educate them about kind of the benefits as well as the opportunity that they have. I actually was in UIT yesterday. Finally, we do think that Vietnam is one of the kind of biggest development markets with a huge opportunity for both developers as well as the ecosystem broadly. And so we're actually organizing Near APAC together with Vietnam Hub here in September. So I invite everyone to come back and attend that. We expect a pretty big attendance as well as lots of projects from the ecosystem and Web3 broadly to come in and kind of share as well as learn from each other. And kind of around that, Vietnam Hub is organizing Web3 Hackfest, which is a kind of online hackathon that will culminate in the conference and kind of engaging universities, creating boot camps, and also hacking. And it's multi-chain. It's kind of to promote blockchain operating system and really allow everybody to contribute and kind of build in this new way. So in conclusion, Near started as blockchain. We have built kind of a lot of the usability tooling and then developer tooling, and then we continue expanding because we saw demand from developers around identity, around kind of multi-chain, social graph, fixing onboarding, building composable decentralized front ends to make them less fragile. And so kind of going not just blockchain, right? We needed a new concept, a new way of describing this. And blockchain operating system is how we describe all of those things coming together in one vision, really enabling Web3 to be useful and usable, and at the same time, creating this massive distribution channels across all of the possible opportunities that people are doing in Web3. So try it out on near.org, sign up, and thank you very much.
Ilya. Thank you so much, Ilya.